Hello and welcome to Subnetting Video 3, which is the third video about how to find the subnet number. This video uses as an example IP address 192.168.1.150 with mask 255.255.255.240. So why don't we do these videos in the first place? Well, you need to learn a process to find the resident subnet number. Then you need to practice. You want to practice so you can get the right answer and go faster so you can overcome the speed pressure on the exam. And then you need to practice on your own until it's second nature. While this video does give you a little more practice, it's primarily focused on that first objective to teach you the process. So looking at this particular example, we start with the IP address and mask listed at the top of the page. And to organize the problem a little more clearly, just so you can see what's what, we'll put the subnet mask in the top row of a table and the IP address in the row below it. Then we're going to write the subnet number in the third row of the table. Next, we need to identify the interesting octet. That's the octet with a value of neither 255 nor 0 in the subnet mask. And in this case, of course, that's the fourth octet. Then we think about some pretty basic rules about what to do in the octets that aren't the interesting octet. So any octets to the left of the interesting octet, we simply copy the IP address. In this case, we just copy down 192.168.1. Then for any octets to the right of the interesting octet, well, in this case, there aren't any. We would write a 0, but there aren't any, so there's nothing to do at this step. Next, let's focus on what to do in the interesting octet. The first step there is to calculate the magic number. You always start with 256 and subtract the mask's value in that interesting octet. So in this case, you'd subtract 240 from 256, making the magic number 16. Then you start at 0 and calculate the multiples of the magic number. On the right, you see some of those multiples, at least enough to do the math. And then you compare that list to the IP address's value in the interesting octet. In this case, that value was 150. And we want to pick the multiple of 16 that's closest to 150, but not larger than 150. So if you take 150 and scan down the list, you see that it's closest to 144 and 160, but of course 160 is larger. So we pick 144, and that'll be our value for the subnet number in the fourth octet. And that gives us a subnet number of 192.168.1.144. So what next? At this point, you've probably seen 3 different videos that show you the process of how to find the resident subnet. So it's time to practice. The book has many practice suggestions, and in particular, there's a DVD with some appendices, and some of those appendices have practice problems for you to find the resident subnet. In addition, there are 3 other videos that show how to find the range of addresses in a subnet. And these videos basically continue the same examples started in the first 3 subnetting videos. So take a look at those videos and also learn how to find the range of addresses in a subnet and practice that math as well.